Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News. And if you're tuning in, then you're probably smarter than the average bear. And if you believe climate change is a hoax, you might be dumber than a bear. I don't know. Bears are pretty smart, so, try and be at least as smart as a bear. So today I wanted to cover, just kind of talk about the climate change town hall that went on the other day on, when was it? Wednesday on CNN. It was pretty extensive. It was 7 hours. It was a marathon town hall with a lot of the candidates. There were some high points and low points. Yang had some interesting things to say. Warren, did pretty well. Bernie Sanders, of course, has the best climate change plan of all the candidates. I thought that Warren had a climate change plan, but apparently she doesn't. Apparently she's still formulating the plan. I don't know if that's true. So some interesting things that I heard in kind of reviewing as much footage as I could. I'll probably link a couple of, I'll link a little excerpt of Warren's talk and Bernie's talk. I would link Biden's, but it is painful, really painful to watch Joe Biden just mumble his way through. He is just barely making sense when he talks, and he's kind of, when people kind of enter a certain stage of maybe old age or dementia or whatever you want to call it, it's like he just feels like he has to keep talking whether it makes any sense or not, and so he just keeps on saying words. And he kind of like has this like stutter kind of thing, and it's annoying, and it's really sad to watch. I don't know. If Biden even makes it to the actual primaries, I would be surprised. And if he does make it to the primaries, he won't do well. I'm hoping that people get the picture that he's not doing okay, and that people raise the alarm loud enough to get him out of the race, because he's not helping anybody being in the race. And he's obviously a corporate stooge puppet. He's just in there to appease the DNC establishment and elite who want, a big centrist corporate person that they think is going to beat Trump, and he has no chance of beating Trump whatsoever. In my perusal of some videos, I heard an interesting comment from Michael Mann saying he thought Warren was the best person to address climate change. I thought that an interesting... There seems to be a thing going on with Elizabeth Warren where she's kind of like the flavor of the month right now, or she's, popular because mainstream media, corporate-owned media is painting Elizabeth Warren in a very positive light. And again, still, they're trying to paint Bernie in a negative light. And the reason why this is happening is because Elizabeth Warren is a much more acceptable candidate to the elites than Bernie is. Bernie is much more of a threat. So you have to kind of, if you're looking, if you're looking at the big picture and you're seeing corporate news, really loving up on Elizabeth Warren and trying to paint Bernie as some, as failing or falling or crazy or socialist or out there, you might want to take that as a sign that Bernie is the one that you want to go with. There are other reasons why I don't trust Elizabeth Warren. She says she's going to, do this grassroots small donation thing during the primaries, but if she gets nominated, then she's taking money from big donors and dark money and all the money that she can possibly get, meaning that she will sell out in the general election. And so if she gets elected, then she is beholden to whom? The corporate masters, the oligarchs, the people that run things, the people that pull the strings. she will have to, return the favor. So that's, setting her up to be basically a Barack Obama 2.0, which is, say lots of really cool, great, progressive, populist things in the, before the election. And when you get elected, oops, sorry, yeah, got these commitments to, Jamie Dimon and Goldman Sachs and Citibank. Sorry, guys. A big reason not to trust the Warren ticket. I'm hoping she change. Maybe she'll change her mind. Maybe she'll change her tune. Maybe she'll become a different candidate. I don't know. Bernie Sanders is the one who is not taking donations all the way through. Big money donations all the way through the election. He's the one who is campaigning as the actual outsider in the interest of the people and the climate. He is the most outspoken on climate change. So I don't know how Michael Mann could completely overlook Bernie Sanders and his hugely radical, radical for the dominant paradigm, radical climate change plan. Obviously, Bernie Sanders' plan is not radical enough to really mitigate climate change. But it's the most radical step in the right direction. So if you want the most radical step in the right direction of somebody who could be elected to be president, that would be the one, the Bernie Sanders. Also, very interesting point. Somebody asked Bernie Sanders, and I don't know if the other candidates got this question, but asked Bernie Sanders about population control, about overpopulation. And, the question was framed in the sense of, are we, empowering women's rights over their own bodies and allowing people to have access to birth control as a way to forestall having, large numbers of babies. And he supported that. It's a supportable idea, of course. Again, that is a hugely positive step. And he answered in the affirmative that he thought population was a problem in regards to climate change. And that was a radical thing to stick his neck out on, I think, because population control is such a hot button issue. And a lot of people thought that his answer was going to bring all kinds of condemnation from social media and other, Fox News, but who cares about Fox News? They're lunatics. They're not even operating in reality. Those lunatics, they're they're not even in the room with reality. If you know what I'm saying. I said that really strangely. Anyway, so it looks like, Bernie did really, really well in the climate change town hall. Biden absolutely tanked. He got so many terrible reviews. On top of that, he was asked about going to a fundraiser with a fossil fuel executive, and he was like, "He's not a fossil fuel. No, he's not a fossil fuel executive," and then just babbled his way into some nonsensical non sequitur. And even Anderson Cooper said, "This guy you're having a meeting with tomorrow is a fossil fuel executive. What do you have to say about that?" Because everybody has taken a pledge against taking fossil fuel money. Wink, wink, nod, nod, nudge, nudge, or whatever. There are plenty of candidates. Apparently he took the pledge. I don't know about other candidates because Beto O'Rourke clearly takes fossil fuel money. Some other candidates are known to have some ties to the fossil fuel industry. So that's about it. I'm going to link a couple links to the videos. If you guys haven't, they're all over YouTube, of course, if you want to check some of these out. One more thing I wanted to say, a progressive channel, The Humanist Report, before I go, said something about the fact that he thought it was silly to talk about halting air travel. He was like, come on, that's, ridiculous. Like, that's not what anybody's talking about. So I don't know if you're trying to reach a zero carbon output by 2030 or something like that. You know, if you actually think that we have 11 years to change the world, but you're going to allow the air industry to keep going, I don't know where you get your climate science from, or, you know, how deeply involved you are in the actual climate science thing. You know, I'm just calling out, I need to call out some progressive channels, because a lot of them kind of have a, you know, this mainstream liberal media overview of climate change, like it's really bad, and the UN said we only have a couple of years, but they don't understand the actual, you know, when you get into the actual nuts and bolts of what it is that needs to happen to actually make some kind of effect, have some kind of effect on climate change. You're going to have to stop the air industry, the airline industry, pretty much altogether. Maybe only have military flights, or maybe only, you know, it's going to have to look very, very different. That's all I have for you today in this video. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time.